Good afternoon, President Chartrand.
Good afternoon. Hello there, Kyle.
Hello.
Hi. I was quite listening to the show all morning, so quite impressed on your progress and your development. And 15 staff. It's a very good, strong message. It can be done.
Thank you. Appreciate
that. You have a vision. You got to drive.
Yeah.
And you definitely have one that states, if I trip, I will get up again. So.
Yeah.
So that's a good philosophy to have and send to the other entrepreneurs out there. We have over 750 registered businesses at the Federation today, and it's great to see so many of them successful. And I said on a show some time ago, during the COVID time frame, that was the toughest time for most businesses, and they were hurting everywhere.
Yeah.
Some sectorial fields were working, but majority of them were hurting. And we did a survey with our Métis businesses after, and to see how they overcame and what was the challenge of COVID during and after. And while we've seen their typical other polls that are being taking place, other probes that are happening, we saw that the most other non-Métis businesses were facing, destruction and failure and never to succeed again, and it was quite doom and gloom kind of concept. Then the Métis report came in and said, we're optimistic. We're going to do good. We're going to come out of this. We're going to be strong. So it's quite to see that the attitude that really needs to be part of the driving force in your business owner. There's going to be tough times. There's going to be hard times. And I'm very proud the Federation is there to help you and move forward. And I'm sure you're bidding on some of our work out there.
Yeah.
There's a lot. But some of it is so big. And just for people out there, when you hear Kyle talk about 15 staff, it sounds like a lot. For small business, it is, but for medium and then you a larger business, that's small. And in the context of bidding on big projects, you find yourself where you're bonding and your bankroll, your financial state sometimes doesn't give you the opportunity to bid on those bigger ones. That's why actually I'm working with the Premier appointed me to a committee. We're working on procurement right now, and one of the things we're pushing hard is to make sure that Indigenous businesses, Métis and First Nation businesses, get the opportunity that's deserving of a procurement, to make sure that every avenue is looked upon to make sure that they will overcome some of the barriers, whether it's finances or bonding, to make sure that they get these contracts. So there should be a better opportunity coming from the province soon, Kyle, when the Premier announces his procurement. We have a federal procurement already starting to work, but a provincial one will make a big change. We're talking about a couple $2 billion in development and expenditures. So I'm sure out of that you're going to carve something for yourself and your company.
Yeah.
Okay, with that being said, let me get to the higher business now. We have, of course, congratulations going out to the Red River Métis Business Development Corporation. That's a new one that actually comes from Métis Economic Development Fund, and that's MMF it was called before.
Okay.
They've now changed the brand name because that was the one that was only allowed for equity loans, but that's all changed now. We negotiated that with the previous government. Not Palliser, I'll tell you that, with Eder Stephenson, and then followed through with continuation with the existing government. But one of the changes for sure in that segment, it allows now the opportunity not just to look at equity investment loans, but it actually allows us to explore a little bit more variety of how we can use these resources, the resources we have there, to directly help small business, whether it's doing their books for them, whether it's helping them with applications, and sometimes grants are challenging to fill out. Mm-hmm. And so getting that perspective. So Red River Métis Business Development had a big gathering last year, and they're going to have, of course, 2 a year, I believe. And it turned out very well. And that's when, of course, the awards were given out to the businesses. And I was quite proud. I seen a video. I was at the meeting, and Anita was sharing that particular assembly yesterday. And I was quite proud, or Thursday, Friday. And I was quite proud to see the video where, the recipients of the awards in different categories and how proud they were. And the tears were flowing, and the pride was in the family, in the room. And it was just such a powerful thing to see. And then, of course, the Federation gave each one of the accomplished certificate of not only achievement, but also the glass plaque of recognition. But the Federation also gave $5,000 to the company.
That's
and we
awesome.
also gave, I think it was $2,000 for the second nominee on that particular category. So we're looking forward to this year again. Maybe, Kyle, you put your company's name in there and you never know if you'll be selected. So again, kudos to that team, and the meeting that took place yesterday was very very informative, but very clear that we're moving in the right direction of trying to meet our business needs. And the biggest challenge we face is the small business. How do we make sure that they are competitive but at the same time getting all the supports they need? Like bulk buying, for example, right? If you're similar in companies and there's a variety of you together, if you bulk buy, you can get better discounts. So is that an option for the future for businesses to compile their ordering supplies in a grouping, which then would lessen the cost at the bottom line? So those discussions I'm sure will continue to happen. But for those that say, what the hell is equity loan? Well, equity loans actually put it into a business. There's Métis businesses out there, and they've got a loan from what used to be called MEDF, but now it's called River Métis Business Development Corporation. They actually, I'll give you an example, a Salisbury House. We own 23% of Salisbury House, MMF, through the River Métis Business Development Corporation. So every time you eat a Salisbury nip, the best in the world, you're giving 23% back to the Federation. We don't collect no money yet, but we're 23% owner of the company. And so, but there's other companies out there the Federation is invested in, and some of them are direct Métis business, some are not Métis businesses, but they have Métis, of course, employees. But at the end of the day, those are the type of structures, investments that will make a big difference in the long run, right, and make a big difference for the economy of our future for the Métis. So today, in fact, there's a gathering happening, rain or shine. I was supposed to be there, but I got a wedding to attend to. And but there's congratulations going to the community of St. Francis Xavier, formerly known as the Grand Town. Will Goodon will be there representing me today. It's celebrating 200 years of existence. Yeah. So that's a long time.
It
200
is.
years, of existence, and its presence predates Canada. So before Canada was even Canada, St. Francis Xavier existed as known as Grand Town. And of course, famous Cuthbert Grant, entry into our homeland. So, but happening today, tomorrow, St. Xavier will look to the White Horse. And if you want to go down there, you'll see a big white horse. Of course, a big story of that, and I'll leave that to another day. But Will Goodon is there today, rain or shine. So I look forward to his feedback. But there's going to be music, food, and local vendors, and definitely a community spirit of the pride of St. Francis Xavier. So I think it's such a important aspect. We don't ever forget our history. That's what our elders always told us. Never forget where you come from. So these celebrations like this are so vital to making sure to keep the memory alive. But because I can't go today, I have a wedding to attend to, and I might as well speak on that. Yeah. Derek Danielson and Candace are getting married today in Dumas, and she'll be now at Danielson at 3 o'clock today. And they're doing. I'm actually have to be at the hotel shortly. I'm going to take off. They're starting to do pictures and some other events that are happening before the wedding, and heading down to the church, and then heading back to the hotel, have a dinner, and I'm the best man, so I got to make a speech. I got to do all these things I got to prepare myself for. And
awesome.
They're getting very nervous. We did a what do you call that? Practice yesterday.
Rehearsal dinner.
Rehearsal. That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, rehearsal. So it was quite a lot of fun, a lot of laughter there yesterday. Everybody's laughing, making jokes, and passing Kleenexes to Derek and Candace, and they're not even crying. But this is what you got to practice. You got to cry tomorrow. So anyways, a lot of fun. We should have a lot of fun tonight, and this afternoon throughout the day. And, of course, Derek runs one of our programs in Winnipeg and across all of the Interlake, all the way to the Northwest, along with Hilda Bushy, runs that one on their side. And Derek runs this side. He served about 450, I think, last year, senior citizens with wood. And wow. Derek also takes out fish and moose meat and other big game to our elders to drop off food for them. So he's well known in the elders community. Everybody knows him. And he's made his way and has great respect for people. So they're going to be a good couple. And they already have 3 kids. They were practicing, right? So they got 3 kids. So
he decided she's the one.
well, they got 4 altogether, but they got 3 already since before their marriage. So we'll see what happens in that. I'm sure that it's a good practice. They tested the market. And they know what they can each take. How far they can go and push each other. So I'm sure it's going to be a beautiful ceremony and also a beautiful couple together for, as we see sometimes in our phone calls we get, been married 50 years, 40 years. Those are remarkable time frames to look at people able to overcome all of it, So I'm very proud of people like that. I know that I've got some hiccups of my own. So, but at the end of the day, you look at the future. It's make sure you always pray that people will live on to do their vows, commit their positions. And for me, I'm very proud that Derek and Candace will, and I'm very proud to be a best man on that particular wedding. So, but now for harvesting. Of course, I'm so proud of this particular report. I got an update. Of course, I reported on Métis Hour. We do own private land that we bought for harvesting purposes, and that was this year the first draw was made for. There's 2 areas in the northwest of harvesting land, large hectares, and we also have in the Turtle Mountains. And this year, in fact, we had an harvest. Most of them we're seeing because you can bring a team of, a group of 5, and but they're allowed 1 week inside there. They have to make an application, get applied, and of course they got to make sure it's cleaned and everything. There's a fire pit and everything for them to take care of themselves, put up their tent, and hunt in that area. And it's a very fruitful for big game, and at the same time ensuring there's deer and elk in the areas they're hunting in. But what was put a smile on my face is that there was 2 sisters and went hunting together. One was 5 months pregnant, and had a female elder with them, and so they actually killed a deer and they skinned it themselves, and so they shared amongst their family. And it was good to see 2 women out there themselves hunting and just keeping the culture alive, and that made me proud with a big smile on my face. So, but there's all kind of different things that we're seeing from this relationship process where we get families together. Altogether, I think there'll be 15 harvesting parties. Of course, we hunt big game until January 15th. That's the law of the Métis, and we start in late July. And so, but at the time, but make it very clear, you're only allowed to take 1 moose if you get selected. We also have some licenses with the province right now. I think it's about 12 to 15 or something like that we're getting with the province. I announced on the show it was 23, 26 we used to give, but the province has reached out to us saying that they did a recount of the moose, because that hasn't been done in a while. They did a recount, and they say the moose population in both the duck and the porcupine is dramatically dropped. Dramatic, I use the word dramatically, according to their numbers. If they're right with their numbers, it's really dropped. So from 23, we've now given up in partnership, of course. We set the province, we're down to, I think, to 13 or 15, something like that. And First Nations, I think we'll get with 15 or 16. But we're going to work with the province on this. I think it will be essential that we have a plan. This plan is essential, even in our private sector harvesting areas. We need to have a plan. I think all of us as Manitobans need to have a plan and work together. But when you look at it from the standpoint, what's going to happen is what happened before, where Pallister, and I'll use his name because he was the easiest one to use because it's so true, so obvious. He blamed Indigenous people for killing everything, and that was the same thing that the speeches he made at the Manitoba Federation and praising the dastardly deeds of the Indigenous people, their criminal behaviors and criminal records, and they're out there spotlighting, killing everything. So that was kind of conceptual message that was being given, and it's unfortunate that happened, and it set a negative tone. Of course, Manitoba Federation went up in the north and met, and they're trying to push the agenda. They're actually fighting right now with the province over the north. They believe that they should be issued more tags, and the province saying, no, our population is too low. You're not going to get any more tags. We're going to lessen the tags. Everybody else is getting the same thing in the sense of lessening and working. And the First Nations have always said in Cross Lake, look, we need to look at this more closely. We have a very small number now, and we're going to manage this thing in a proper way. So so they're going to court them too. They're saying that the Cross Lake saying any non-Indigenous person coming in their territory needs to get a ratification approval from them before they go harvest their big game from them. So that's going to be an interesting court case. And then, of course, the Wildlife Federation is taking the government to court saying they're entitled to more tags, and they should have the right to more tags, and they should have basically, in some form, let's put it this way, they're saying we should have the same rights as Indigenous people. But that's not a fact, it's not a law, and clearly that's not how the Constitution of this country runs. So it can't be, it's like not a buffet. You will pick and choose whatever you want. This time it's good for me, and I'll believe that the Constitution is good, and the law, and let's put tough on them because there's a lot of moose, and we need a lot of deer. Now there's a decline, and they still don't want to change their position in the context they should have more. But again, it's something that we will not let happen, and we'll tackle that issue together, because it's not only just about harvesting, it's the forest company cutting down so much of the landscape. You look at the wolf population, it's exploded. There's no more trappers, except the Red River Métis Trapping Company started, and we're getting a growth there happening of trappers, which is great to see. And we also have a bounty on wolves in our Red River Métis company. So, for a company to try to bring the population down to help big game. So there's all kind of, and then there's the wood tick issue that has a great effect on animals. So there's a variety of different things. The climate change is also having an effect. Let's not fool ourselves. And so the individuals out there trying to blame Indigenous people as the mass killers of animals are blowing into the wind, because they're telling stories that aren't true. So anyways, because you'll find one incident where somebody may have killed too much or did something on their own or selling the meat or something of that nature, then they'll use that one story to attack all Indigenous people, right? So both Métis and First Nation. But anyways, I look forward to putting our position loud and clear. Manitoba Federation wrote a op-ed again today in the paper talking about trying to be diplomatic. Let's be honest with yourself. Look at your past actions, your past positions, your past statements. You totally oppose Métis rights. You fought against Métis rights. You lobbied against Métis rights. And now you're saying, no, we just want to talk. Come on. We're not fools. You're not going to fool us. Where the hell you think you are? Maybe back in the day when people were not educated, today's a different world. So, anyways, we'll respond to them after. They're not a big deal to us. But again, the key, I think, for moving forward is looking. I sent a message again to the chiefs. Let's sit down, the Métis government and the First Nation governments. Let's sit down and establish a practice of the future. How do we work together for the harvesting and the next generation to have the same opportunity we have today? I'm talking about our own children, our own grandchildren, Métis and First Nation. And then, of course, we have no issue sitting down with other parts of Manitobans, but let's first talk to each other and figure out what we need to do and how do we start to manage this issue if we see such a decline. And the climate change is getting worse. It's not getting better. And we need to help out. We need to jump in. We need to put maybe finances involved in this, but we need to come together to help find solutions to this. Also, want to say congratulations to Kira Delarondo, who received the Governor General's Coronation Medal for her work in. Yeah, you saw that? Yeah. Good for her. Yeah, she's so bubbly. She's always all over the place. She does a good job, and she MCs, and she does all kind of things. You ask her, she'll do it. So, congratulations to you, Kyra, and show your grandpa, your family's all proud. And I know she deserves it, without question. Also, want to say happy birthday is going to the 53rd birthday going Tracy Alar St. Laurent. We'll celebrate birthday Wednesday, September 18th. Happy 60th birthday to Ken Gibosh, St. Laurent. We'll celebrate his birthday Tuesday, September 19th. Happy birthday, James Puffett, as the Manitoba Justice Institute Associate Director, celebrating his birthday on Wednesday, September 25th. Happy 11th birthday going to Sasha Vincent, that's Tanya and Martin Vincent's daughter, celebrating at September 25th, the birthday for that one. And happy 13th birthday going to Lily Chartrand, that's Leighton Al Spencer. In fact, my godchild is out in Back Bay. I hope you're listening, Lily. Happy birthday. Big birthday to you from Gloria and the family out here. And it's always important to recognize special times, especially young kids. They love that. Especially hearing their name on radio is even more important. They just get so proud. So, and I also want to thank Jada. She's a young lady, a little young teen. She gave me blueberry jam at a different event, and she gave me blueberry jam at this event. She gave me a tomato at the other event. So I was proud to receive that. She looks forward to coming to these gatherings, and she always brings me a little gift. So I want to say thank you, Jada, and thank you for remembering your president. Also want to say there's some big news coming, as you've seen, the announcement by the province. The province has announced now that there's going to be a new investment in wind power. And just for people to understand numbers, what they mean, there's 600 megawatts they talk about. Well, it sounds like it's innocent, 600 megawatts. That's actually quite a bit of power, a large amount of power. And when you go by kilowatt hours, it's complicated with kilowatt hours, and you average it all out to get your megawatt power. But a megawatt is 600 is being offered both to the Indigenous governments, and of course I'm going to sit down and hope that we can come to respecting each other's area, meaning our ability for economics on both sides. I definitely want to look at I'm already going to be pushing that 300 megawatts will come to the Métis government, 300 with the First Nation government. Now, people would say, well, that's quite simple. It is, dividing the number. But what's going to be a challenge, and I applaud the government on this, that it's got to be 51% owned by Indigenous government. So that's something very important because if you know the story that's happening in this country, and people have heard it and read it, saw it in the news, billions of dollars have been stolen now by non-Indigenous people and creating these fake companies, paying somebody to be a 51% owner as an Indigenous person, but at the end they own the company, they run it all, they take all the profit margins, and we're talking billions, not millions, billions have been taken away from Indigenous people through the procurement model. So the province, I know, is looking at strengthening the procurement model, making it, ensuring that the jobs go to the Indigenous people, the company and the business development goes to both, whether it's Métis or First Nation. And so when we look at it from that context, it's going to be very vital how we move forward. So when we did an analysis, for example, on a 200 megawatt to develop that wind power, that'll cost us about $500 million to develop. Turnkey operation, about $500 million or more, just for 200 megawatts. Imagine 600 megawatts.
Wow.
So you do the math. You're talking 1.5 billion or more that has to be spent to build these wind powers. So a lot of work's got to be done by each of us. We have to do a lot of borrowing. We got to go and get the right partners, and you got to make sure you own 51% of this entire company. So that's something we're looking forward to doing, and I look forward to seeing. Understand the Inuit will also probably have a chance to play a part in the north, somewhere further north. But it's important to recognize, again, that this is a good opportunity for Indigenous governments, Indigenous economics. It's a good, strong message from the Premier Waptino and, of course, Minister Sala. But I think it's a powerful opportunity for all of us to really see the opportunity that can be gained from here. I'm talking a lot of jobs and good paying jobs.
Yeah.
And so for people to understand what this wind power looks like, those things are so giant now. You can walk on top of them. You would just look like a little ant walking on top there. They're so big. Mm-hmm. And so they don't take a lot of land mass, but they definitely could produce a lot of power. So we actually at the Federation been working on this for some time. So we're way ahead of the game in the context of it. We're planning already all of the, we bought lands in certain places. We're going to, of course, there's studies where's the most wind, where we'll be able to capture the most wind so to turn the turbines, and then at the same time store all that energy. So it's a big project. It's for sure it's estimated about $1.5 billion that we'd have to come. I know the government's talking about some loans, not grants, loans that they'll make available. And so there's definitely going to be a lot of talks with banks and a lot of talks with other companies. We've been talking, for example, with Mitsubishi, which is a massive company, and how they want to be a part in developing it, maybe helping us build it, but at the same time ensuring that we're the owners. And so that means I have to bring a lot of money to the table and to make sure that we keep our say in our position of ownership there. So it's big. We'll keep you posted on that one. That's a kudos to the Premier, kudos to the government, the NDP government for this way of moving forward on this issue. And this way it's not being privatized. It's actually run to government. We then take that money and return it back to our citizens through programs and services. So it's a win-win for all that. And for those that will complain, first of all, they better look at what the win-win will be. Municipalities will gain taxes, the taxes to the provinces, taxes to the federal government. They'll be collected from the business of the wind power. But the amount of jobs you create, the amount of jobs you have now, these people will buy vehicles, they're going to buy houses, they're going to buy products. So stores and other commodities will be winners on such a big initiative like this. It's going to be a big, big economic boost in our province. So we're also working with the mining sector, Canadian Premium Stands. We're pushing them to make sure that they're working in comparison in the sense of what partnership looks like. So we'll keep you posted on that. We also sit down with PATCOM. PATCOM is the one that is drilling potash from the bottom. It's near Russell out in the area. And so we had meetings with the owner, and he seems to be a very kind-hearted man and wants to develop but include the Indigenous people as partners. So ongoing discussions are happening with him as we speak. So kudos to him, and definitely I've always been talking about potash for years. It's in the Russell area, but it's a long story. But potash is very viable. It's a very important commodity. Without it, our soil can't regain enough nutrients to grow. So that's why potash is so important. So, but again, we've been pushing hard, and we believe that there's a good opportunity sitting there. But I think we should look at bigger opportunities in that particular scope. Now, I'll close off with something really big. 60 Scoop is something, of course, we filed our court case. We've served the government of Canada. We are going forward, and of course, the First Nations got their settlement already on the 60 Scoop. But clearly, from the Métis, we've always been left out. And now we're going close to 10 years. We've been back and forth trying to negotiate, at least the last 7 years, 8 years with Canada. They promised to negotiate a settlement for the Métis of the 60 Scoop, and that's never happened. So I've now sat down in my cabinet on Thursday and indicated to my cabinet that I'm looking towards a plan of trying to do something ahead of time, even though there's no settlement. There's none right now. But we hope that we will be successful in our court case against Canada, or they'll negotiate before. And so what I'm hoping is that settlement will come. I know the First Nations got $20,000 a person that was involved or apprehended in the 60 Scoop. And so we're looking now at setting the pathway forward on making an announcement. I'm hoping to make it at the Assembly. But my goal is to try to make, in the Federation itself, our own government find money to maybe give an addition, a startup settlement of maybe $5,000 per 60 Scoop survivor, because they're dying, they're aging out, and if Canada takes any more years to go by us before we settle or we come to a conclusion, more people will miss the opportunity to get justice. So I've talked to my Minister of Finance, I talked to my cabinet already. I'm instructed my finance. I want to find money in our investments, pull it out of there, and I will probably make an announcement at the Assembly. So if you're a 60 Scoop survivor of the River Métis, get your name to your region, sign up, but you have to be a 60 Scoop survivor, not a child of a 60 Scoop, an actual 60 Scoop survivor, one that was actually taken. And we'll probably give you an advance, and when the settlement ever comes, we'll of course ask you to put it back. But I want to make sure it goes out to them before they leave this world and never got justice. So I'm hoping to make that announcement. I hope everything will work out and I'll be able to pull it off. But I want to deal with that issue. So if you're a 60 Scoop survivor, River Métis, get over your region, but remember, I'll repeat myself, you have to be one that was taken from your family and taken. And actually, we got a copy. You would have seen this, Naomi. I got a copy of an actual receipt, a $25 receipt to take a Métis child.
Oh.
It was called an adoption receipt.
Disgusting.
They paid $25. They took our kid. Isn't that sad? Isn't that crazy? That they bought trafficking children.
It is
and
horrible.
In fact, they gave me a copy of the receipt the other day, and my blood was just boiling. I couldn't believe that that's how they saw us. It's just something, a chattel, something that could be sold and bought,
Yeah.
So that shows you what happened to our kids. And now hopefully we'll change all that. But again, I repeat, 60 Scoop survivor, if you're apprehended, taken as a child, and we'll look for the proof of evidence once that happens. And then we're trying to find some advance money that we can give you in case something ever happens. At least you had a form of justice, and we'll fight with government on trying to retain that money back after in the future. So that's good news. I hope I can announce that at the Assembly, and I hope I get our regions start getting the calls, and we start tabulating how much people are we talking about, and what's that going to cost us. And so don't forget, October, we should be in October starting issuing checks for the child special allowance money. And there are some First Nation, there are some non-Indigenous in our child family services agencies, but the clear majority is Métis. And so there will be about, I forgot how many millions it is, quite a bit, substantial millions, that will be giving out. The total thing is $84.8 million or something. But out of that, some of it's on program, administration, operation. But all those children, we have all the children's names recorded, and if we missed anybody, of course, we'll correct it. But we have 1,000, I think, children apprehended that will be benefactors of this. And so I look forward to seeing that happening in October. So I'll close off now and again say a big congratulations again to Derek and Candace for getting their vows today and getting married and welcoming them to, I guess, the matter of commitment of matrimony forever. So again, take care, everybody, and have a good time. And again, kudos to you, Kyle. And if you're still there, kudos to your business. And to all Métis businesses, again, we're very proud of you. So we'll talk to you guys next Saturday, and keep up the good work. And congratulations to the nomination of Cowboy.
Yes.
If I had my way, Cowboy, you would get it in a minute.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, you deserve it, man. You've been the backbone of NCI for as long as I remember.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, that's
And Ray
huge.
would be proud of that rap, and I'll tell you that. Okay, we'll talk to you guys.
Okay, take care, David.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.